If you're over 60, there are a handful of everyday habits that quietly increase your risk of injury, illness, or a hospital visit. And most people don't even realize they're doing them. This isn't about scaring you. It's about giving you real, practical information so you can catch small problems before they become big ones. Let's go through 7 things worth stopping or rethinking, one at a time. The first thing is standing up too quickly. This sounds almost too simple to matter, but it's one of the most common and overlooked habits that leads to dizziness, lightheadedness, and falls in people over 60. As we age, blood pressure regulation slows down a little. When you go from sitting or lying down to standing up fast, blood can pool in your legs for a moment before your body catches up. And that drop in blood pressure to your brain is what causes that woozy, off-balance feeling. Doctors sometimes call this orthostatic hypotension. It's not dangerous on its own most of the time, but it becomes dangerous the moment you lose your balance near a hard floor, a staircase, or a bathtub. The fix is almost embarrassingly simple. When you get up from bed in the morning, sit on the edge for 10 to 15 seconds before standing. When you get up from a chair or couch, pause for a moment with your hand on something stable before you start walking. This one small pause is something physical therapists frequently recommend to older adults, specifically because it addresses one of the leading contributors to fall-related injuries in this age group. The second thing is ignoring loose rugs, cords, and clutter on walking paths at home. This one isn't about how careful you are. It's about how your reflexes and reaction time naturally change with age. In your 30s or 40s, if your foot catches on a rug edge, your brain and body can often correct for it fast enough that you barely notice. After 60, that same catch is more likely to become a stumble, and that same stumble is more likely to become a fall, because reaction time and muscle response slow down gradually over the years. This isn't a flaw or a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a normal part of aging, the same way eyesight or hearing gradually changes. The practical response isn't to become fearful of walking around your own home. It's to remove a few known hazards. That means taping down rug edges or removing rugs that slide, running cords along walls instead of across walkways, and keeping hallways and stairs clear of shoes, boxes, or anything that could be a tripping point. Fall prevention researchers, including those behind national safety guidelines for older adults, consistently point to home hazards as one of the most fixable risk factors there is. You're not just being cautious for no reason. You're closing one of the easiest doors to injury. The third thing is skipping regular vision and hearing checkups. A lot of people associate eye exams and hearing tests with convenience, reading small print, hearing the TV a bit better. But after 60, these checkups start doing double duty as fall and safety prevention. If your depth perception is slightly off because of changes in your vision, judging the height of a step or the edge of a curb becomes harder, even if you don't consciously notice a change. Similarly, hearing loss doesn't just affect conversations. It can also affect your sense of spatial awareness and your ability to hear a car approaching or someone giving you a warning. The recommendation here isn't complicated. An annual vision and hearing check is a low-effort habit that catches small changes early before they turn into a bigger safety issue or a bigger medical bill. If it's been more than a year since your last exam, that's worth putting on the calendar this month, not eventually. The fourth thing is managing multiple medications without a regular review. This is one that doesn't get talked about enough. By the time people are in their 60s and 70s, it's common to be seeing more than one doctor, maybe a primary care physician, a cardiologist, an eye doctor, and others. And each one may prescribe something without a full picture of everything else you're taking. This is sometimes referred to as polypharmacy, and it's not inherently dangerous, but it does raise the chances of drug interactions, duplicate medications, or side effects that get mistaken for just getting older. The American Geriatric Society publishes updated criteria specifically to help physicians and pharmacists identify medications that may need extra caution in older adults, and many pharmacies offer what's sometimes called a brown bag review, where you bring in every medication and supplement you're taking, prescription or not, and a pharmacist looks at the full list together. This is not about telling you to stop taking anything on your own. It's the opposite. It's about making sure a professional has the complete picture, because the person prescribing pill number 6 may have no idea what pills 1 through 5 are doing together. If you haven't done a full medication review in the past year, mentioning it at your next appointment is a completely reasonable and increasingly common request. The fifth thing is skipping strength and balance-focused movement in favor of only walking or staying sedentary. Walking is good. It's genuinely one of the best things you can do for cardiovascular health. But walking alone doesn't do much for the specific muscles and balance systems that prevent falls. Things like your hips, your core, and your ankles. Research on aging and mobility consistently shows that a combination of light resistance training and balance exercises, even just 2 or 3 times a week, meaningfully reduces fall risk and helps maintain independence longer. This doesn't mean joining a gym or lifting heavy weights. It can be as simple as standing up from a chair without using your hands 10 times in a row, standing on one foot near a countertop for support, or doing basic resistance band exercises at home. Many community centers and senior centers offer free or low-cost balance classes specifically designed for this age group, often led by physical therapists or certified instructors. If movement has quietly become just walking to the mailbox and back, this is one of the more overlooked gaps. The sixth thing is withdrawing from social contact without realizing it's happening gradually. This one is less physical and more easy to miss because it doesn't happen all at once. It happens one skipped phone call, one skipped gathering, one, maybe next time, at a time. Research from organizations like the National Institute on Aging has increasingly linked social isolation in older adults to a range of health outcomes, including changes in mood, cognitive decline, and even cardiovascular health. This isn't about diagnosing anyone with depression or anything else. It's simply that consistent social connection appears to function almost like a protective habit, similar to diet or exercise. The practical takeaway isn't go make 10 new friends. It's noticing if regular contact, a weekly call, a standing lunch, a community group has quietly faded, and making one small effort to rebuild a bit of regular connection. That could be a phone call scheduled at the same time each week, a class at a senior center, or simply saying yes to an invitation you might have normally turned down. If loneliness or persistent low mood has become a daily experience rather than an occasional one, that's worth mentioning to a doctor or a licensed therapist, not something to just push through alone. The seventh thing is putting off conversations about safety and independence until after something already goes wrong. A lot of families wait for a fall, a missed medication, or a health scare before they start talking about home safety, driving, or what support might be needed down the road. But these conversations tend to go much better when they happen calmly, in advance, rather than in a moment of crisis. That might mean talking with family about what kind of support would actually be helpful, looking into medical alert systems before they're urgently needed, or simply having a plan for who to call and what to do if a fall or health issue happens at home alone. None of this is about giving up independence. It's closer to the opposite. Having a plan in place is often what allows someone to stay independent longer, because small problems get caught and handled before they turn into something that forces a bigger, more sudden change. If you look at these 7 things together, there's a common thread running through all of them. None of them are really about getting old in some vague, discouraging sense. They're about a handful of small, specific habits: how fast you stand up, what's on your floor, when you last had your eyes checked, whether your medications have been reviewed together, whether you're building a little bit of strength and balance work into your week, whether you're staying connected to people, and whether safety conversations are happening before or after something goes wrong. Every one of these is something you can act on this week, not someday. None of this is meant to replace an actual conversation with your doctor, a physical therapist, or a licensed mental health professional. If something in this video made you think, that sounds like me, the next right step isn't to self-diagnose or panic. It's to bring it up at your next appointment, or make an appointment specifically to talk it through. Small, early conversations tend to lead to small, manageable solutions. Waiting tends to lead to bigger ones. If this was helpful, the most useful thing you can do next is pick just one of these 7 things, not all 7, and make one small change this week. Maybe that's pausing before you stand up. Maybe it's finally scheduling that eye exam. Maybe it's calling someone you haven't talked to in a while. Small, consistent changes are what actually move the needle here, far more than trying to overhaul everything at once.